So I'd like to go over some phrasing tips when improvising, and you can apply this to all of the 5 shapes of the major scale, but for that matter you could also apply these tips to any scale you're playing, okay? So the first thing is, as guitar players we tend to have this thing where we play something and then we go, okay, I've done that, and you move on to your next phrase or your next lick or your next idea. And I spent a lot of time listening to saxophone players and piano players, and what I noticed is often they seemed more comfortable remaining with the same idea and extending it, building a theme, a motif, developing a melody rather than just playing something and then playing the next thing. And I think in part that may be because as guitarists we tend to grow up learning a lot of licks, and so we tend to think of, oh, I'm going to play something and then I'll play my lick, and then I'll play something else and I'll play my lick, as opposed to making it one continuous stream or idea. So just really try to be aware that if you play something like, okay, so I wouldn't play that and then just go, because that second thing has nothing to do with. So the idea would be, I would think of that part as the question and then I would answer it, like. So it was kind of leading itself back to that E note in this particular case, So now obviously it depends on what backing track you're playing over, what song you're playing, what the rhythm of the track is and everything. But just have that overall concept in mind that if you play something and you leave space, and that's another thing too, you have to leave space after you play a phrase, because if I went that first phrase got completely buried and we lost it, whereas if I just went okay, so let's say we're in C and I play, there's my lick, right? Now if I went, you completely lost the part where I went, but if I leave space after that, to me that sounded like it finished one cycle, right? Because this part became the question, and then the answer, and then the space enabled the listener, i.e. me, hopefully you, to say, oh, okay, he went, and that sounds like he's posing a question. And then in that little gap there, it gave us time to really hear what those notes sounded like. And especially, if we have a chord underneath this, then it's going to take on more harmonic content. But in terms of like the rhythm and the melody of the notes, that space just enables us to hear that and think about what might follow it. We might just repeat it, but then with a variation. So it wants to go somewhere. So this is part of thinking more of a long-term idea than just playing a couple of licks. You start off with an idea and then just leave some space to let that idea be heard and absorbed, and then we answer it. Alright, so there's one answer. So there's a jumping around the scale. And then maybe the lick again. And then back to home kind of thing, back to that C. However you want to get there. So, this example is not about that lick at all, forget that lick. The idea is, whatever you play, try to build upon it. So the next thing you play is related to it. And that's, building a theme or playing a musical motif, if you like. Think about a movie. When you watch a movie, often a theme or a melody is introduced early in the movie, and then all through the movie, it sort of comes back, sometimes in different forms. Maybe it has orchestration under it, but you still hear that little piano line that they hinted at in the first 5 minutes. And this is all that kind of thing of just planting it in your mind that we're building a theme over time. It's the more related what you play is in terms of how it relates to what you've already played, the more the listener is going to be drawn in and on that journey with you.